Hi guys, welcome back to Dev Astrology. Today I'm coming up with a very important video which is going to be talking about Mars exaltation in the sign of Capricorn. And this shift is coming on January 16th when Mars is going to be coming into exaltation. Now, this is an important shift because the soldier is going to take the role of the general now. He is going to make you absolutely disciplined, strategic, not taking no for an answer, or if I may say, you are going to find yourself unstoppable on different spheres of life depending on your sign. It is important for you to understand that this Mars placement is going to be bringing Rochak Yoga, Mahapurush Yoga for four key signs, which is for Aries, Cancer, Libra, and for Capricorn people. Now, in this video, we are going to capture about this transit and the impact that Mars exaltation is going to bring in your career, money, health, and relationships. So guys, without further ado, let's deep dive into the video and understand what does this transit of Mars hold for you. Aries. Mars happens to be your Lagna Lord. You can watch this video both from an Aries rising, which is Lagna, as well as from moon sign perspective. So I hope you don't have to put in further comments to get clarification. Now, Mars is coming into exaltation in your 10th house. It's going to be a period where career is going to become your top priority. Your karma is going to become of highest importance to you. And I would say that this is the time when you are going to find yourself as the boss, period. Mars exaltation in the 10th house denotes that this is a placement where Mars is also gaining directional strength. Coming into the 10th house, the first and the foremost impact can be understood with respect to career and business transformation. Well, this is going to be the period from Jan 16th till Feb 22nd, which is about 5.5 weeks of duration, where you are going to find the best shifts coming in with respect to your efforts, your karma, your career promotion and growth. It's going to be a period where Mars is, of course, getting Digbala with a 10th house placement, but you can also anticipate that you are going to find absolute domination in whatever you do. It's going to be a brilliant for people who are in work profile, in some sort of a job structure. Unexpected sudden growth and transformation can also be anticipated because he happens to be your 8th lord, exalted in the 10th, 3 places away from itself. But it is crucial for you to understand that this will require enormous amount of efforts from your end when you will get those fruits of your labor when you least anticipate them to happen. Mars placement here is indicating solid possibilities of promotions coming into picture. You undertaking quite heavy lifting projects, massive undertakings in terms of new initiatives. Now, this is very prominent for people who are, of course, employed or running their own businesses. But sometimes I do get queries that what about students? What about a retired person? Well, it is going to give a renewed amount of energy to all of you Aries, where you would want to get things done. And that is where I said that this is going to make you absolutely unstoppable when it comes to undertaking those initiatives in your lives. Now, of course, 10th house does give a deeper indication of our career prospects, and that is why I'm kind of alluding with a more emphasis on that bit, because our day-to-day karmas are consumed in our job, in our work, in our career profiles for that matter. And what we can see here is that with this placement, you will have the ability, or you will take charge to crush your enemies in all possible areas. From a business growth and collaboration perspective as well, I see it gives you the ability to rise in status, to give you a lot more it gives you the capability to get a lot of more acceptance from a social status perspective, from a social collaboration perspective as well. This is the house of the masses where you are gaining strength. Mars is placed in the 10th house, which means it is going to give you 3 key aspects, the 4th, the 7th, and the 8th. And I've denoted those aspects with the arrows in the video here as well, which means your 1st house, 4th house, and 5th house will also become quite prominent. See, one thing is for sure, with Mars's exaltation coming into picture, specifically for you, Aries, there is going to be heat which is going to generate it. It's going to be the heat in the form of temper, in the form of aggression coming in your words, in your interactions, in your energy, in your passion. But it could also result into some bit of impact from your physical body self. You might be consuming a lot more hot food as well during this point of time. This Mars is giving an aspect into your fourth house, and albeit it's a debilitated aspect, which means it'll be very hard for you to find that balance between work and home. You will be bringing your work towards your home as well, and that is where you'll have to be cautious. It brings certain amount of energies in terms of aggression, reprimanding your kids, giving them specific directives, being a disciplinarian sort of with your attitude in what you expect from them. Now, if you move towards your relationships, I would want to double down on the warning that I was alluding to earlier. It is crucial to keep a check on your choice of words, on your temper. Aggression, if redirected as assertion, is going to be a much positive approach. If you are married, you will have to be cautious that you do not overdo the exertion with respect to work and do not bring those challenges of your career work profile into your home and family life as well, because that possibility with the debilitated aspect of Mars is going to be heightened. Then from a health perspective, this is going to bring high amount of vitality, but the risk of having a burnout is quite possible. You might feel overstressed, overwhelmed with the amount of work you would have undertaken. Please be watchful towards your knee injuries or joint pains as well during this period. After all, Mars is sitting in the sign of Capricorn. Now, of course, with respect to finances, we all know that money follows status. And I've clearly called out that it is going to be a period where you are going to be at its highest when it comes to your karma. Plus, Mars is the lord of your 8th house, which is unexpected, sudden transformation, unanticipated income coming your way. But it is going to be your travel journeys, your short distance movement, your own courage and willpower, which is going to be exuding a lot of confidence given Mars's exaltation, albeit he is in combustion, sitting quite close to Sun throughout this period. Yet I anticipate that for many of you, there could be financial gains as well that might pivot out during this period. All in all, this 5.5 week duration of Mars's exaltation is giving a lot of positive indications for Aries, especially with the start of the year itself. We've done a detailed video as well for our 2026 predictions along with January 2026 monthly reading that should have hit your YouTube box. Taurus, for you folks, Mars is transiting into your 9th house. This is going to be a period where you are going to be like a crusader. Well, it's a harsh word to use, but Mars coming in the 9th house is definitely indicating that this is going to be a period where luck is going to be favoring the brave. Its exaltation is in the 9th house itself, which means that you will have to, or you will have the ability to showcase your strength, your willpower, coupled with your moral values, your principles, the ethics, the ecosystem in which you have your self-belief, your family belief as well. This is going to be a period where, from a career and business perspective, you can anticipate that you will have to put up a fight for your beliefs. You will have to take up a stand on what you believe in, what is your ethical roadmap from a career perspective in a job front as well as in business like situations. The difficult aspects could come with respect to confrontational situations with your bosses, superiors, managers, with your gurus, teachers, mentors, professors, or from a spiritual guidance perspective too. And you will have to actually filter what is the right bit. And the reason I'm calling that out is that whilst Mars is exalted, it is still sitting in combustion next to Sun throughout the course of the next few months. This is a period which is going to be excellent for lawyers for that matter. Mars happens to be the lord of your 12th as well as your 7th house, and its exaltation in the 9th indicates that there is going to be strong possibility for long distance travel and work related opportunities. especially for people in working in multinational corporations, people who are in export import related industries. If they are working in spaces that require to operate in isolation, you are going to find some sort of success and profitable deals coming your way, because it's the 10th movement of Mars from the 12th house position. You have to also understand that this is going to be a brilliant period for publications, you publishing your research, your insights, your understanding, or undergoing any kind of higher education efforts. So this means that students watching this video who are pursuing any PhD programs, any doctoral programs, any post-graduation education in a foreign land or far away from your birthplace, there is going to be possibilities of higher success. If you are anticipating any kind of shift in that direction, it is also going to be very supportive for you for those initiatives. Then you have to understand that this Mars is going to support you from a financial perspective, where luck is going to play a role supporting your bold financial moves. It is crucial for you to understand, because he, being the lord of expenses or investments for that matter, if you see from a different lens, will give you a very strong possibility of finding the right opportunity in your life, no matter what sphere of life you come from, to expand that, to grow that in a longer scheme of things. However, I would still want you to be watchful when it comes to your expenses, because there is a possibility that some sort of unnecessary expenses might also come your way. So be frugal with your mindset and make sure that your expenses are pivoting more into an investment strategy. Now, since he is the lord of your 7th house as well, and it has done a 3-place movement into your 9th house, relationships are going to become crucial. Being the 7th lord, if you are married, in your partnerships, in your business engagements, there is a possibility of having some sort of heated argument with your partner, or otherwise with your father, with your mentor, with your bosses, with your gurus. So be watchful when it comes to your speech, because at this point in time, there is a high possibility that those arguments could turn out detrimental. But it can also be seen, if Mars is well placed in your chart, it can also be seen as an indication where you are going to take some very strong initiative, leadership. As I said, it's acting more like a general when compared to a soldier in this phase. And therefore, you would want to share a vision with your partner. You would have to collaborate, bring joint courage to the table in terms of making things happen. There's also a very strong possibility of many of you Taurus taking a long distance journey as well during this period into a foreign land, maybe in collaboration with your partner, with your spouse for that matter. What I would recommend is that you should avoid any kind of confrontational situation when it comes to politics, when it comes to religion, because it is making an exaltation with its heightened aggressive energy in your 9th house itself. It's crucial for us to understand that this Mars is giving an aspect towards your 12th house, your 3rd house, and your 4th. And therefore, there could be some bit of general disturbance of your mental and emotional peace because of some of the highlights that I've called out at your family space in your home. But it also gives the possibility that you will take initiatives towards buying something, towards building something from your property assets, movable, immovable property, maybe some sort of a breakdown coming in vehicles, getting a repair done, or improvising on it, adding more aesthetic features to your assets for that matter. A debilitated aspect is coming to your 3rd house, so avoid any kind of difficult conversations with your siblings in your neighborhood. There could be a lack of general interest towards your hobbies as well, but I cannot emphasize enough on the expenses part of it. Mars coming in here does give an interest towards religion and spirituality, and if you are burning your energies to enhance or uplift your emotional and spiritual thought process, well, it is going to be an excellent period from that perspective. Now, you have to understand that from a health perspective, you've got to be watchful towards your hip and thigh section. After all, it is in your 9th house where it is getting exalted in the sign of Capricorn. You will have to avoid any kind of reckless behavior towards adventure sports in terms of hobbies, hitting the gym and stuff, be very watchful whilst exercising or doing physical activities. I will emphasize that it is giving a debilitated aspect towards your third house for that matter. But all in all, there is a possibility that when you initiate something new with your spouse, with your business partner, in collaboration with the larger world, so to speak, who is in opposition, you will be able to overcome that with joint efforts, showing good courage and finding the right support of your luck, your destiny coming into picture throughout this period. Gemini, for you folks, Mars is making its transit into the sign of Capricorn and coming into exaltation in your 8th house. Now, Mars happens to be the lord of your 6th house and your 11th. And the first bit for you to understand is that he is making a Vipreet Raj Yoga, being the lord of the 6th, into exaltation in the 8th house. And therefore, it can bring a sudden strike. Well, this is going to be a period which can bring in some hidden wealth and sudden events of transformation during this 5.5 week period. First and foremost, from a career and business standpoint, because this shift is coming into your 8th house, and you all know that I'm not a huge fan of planets making those crucial transits into the 8th, that there could be some degree of volatility which might come into picture with respect to your karma, with respect to your efforts. See, the 11th lord is moving 10 places away from itself. And therefore, when we look from gains, desires, wish fulfillment perspective, the chances are that there is going to be a certain degree of suddenness, transformation coupled with it. It might happen on a very good day when you least anticipate, but it could also be coupled with some amount of challenges that you might be facing. The other bit that you have to understand is that there could be a shift in your work, career, or some sort of politics coming into picture that you would be least aware of, and therefore you've got to be mindful of this situation. However, if your work is related to research, if you are a surgeon of some sort, if you are in the medical profession and it requires you to do some sort of surgery, no matter which stream of medicine that you operate in, or if you are an occultist, you are in the stream of astrology, tarot card reading, doing research in terms of nanotechnologies, going into the depth of things, being at the back end of some sort of a structure like back end stock market trading, where you are not in the front dealing with customers on a day-to-day basis in the Wall Street, but doing your derivative trading for that matter in the backdrop. Those kind of areas is going to be extremely powerful and rewarding, because this Mars is giving an aspect towards your 2nd house as well. Now remember, the aspect towards your 2nd house is a debilitated one. However, it will still bring the possibility of some sort of a breakthrough coming in your life. Being the 6th lord into the 8th house indicates that from a job, career, role perspective, there are going to be good possibilities in terms of some positive picture coming into play after an initial bit of a hurdle. It is a Vipreet Raj Yoga, which means you have to encounter the challenges first, encounter the obstacles coming in your life, the difficulties from your day-to-day regimen which are bothering you, but then you are going to bounce back and you are going to achieve what your goal, target, ambition, monetary desire was. From a finance perspective, I would not say that it is a jackpot per se, but it is a very strong indication of something turning out fruitful for you. Speculative gains are definitely a possibility, but given that Mars exaltation is in your 8th house, inheritance of some sort, when you least anticipate, might work out. It could result into insurance payouts or a bonus of some sorts for people who have been working for a long duration and have not been rewarded. An unexpected payout of bonus is also possible during this period. I will advise you that do not be lending money to anybody at this point in time. A lot of your friends, social circle might reach out to you asking for some support during this period, and this may not be the best period because you might not end up getting that money back. You have to remember Mars has 3 aspects, and it is giving a debilitated aspect towards your 2nd house in your own finances. And therefore, I would want some sort of, covering your bases, if I may. The other bit is that he, being the lord of your 6th house, could bring some challenges with respect to your health. Obstacles at your workplace, your peers, your enemies may try to create some sort of political situations behind your back. But the best part is you will be able to sail through those challenges once it is coming to the fore. You've got to keep your eyes and ears open during this period. Mars is giving an aspect back to its own sign in the sign of Aries in your 11th house. And therefore, from a finance perspective, what it is indicating, or maybe from a material gains perspective, it is indicating that irrespective of those challenges, irrespective of all the problems that you are anticipating coming in your life, which definitely would, you will still be able to achieve your goals, albeit the outcome might be slightly diminished, say an 80% outcome versus what you would have anticipated. So that's still not a bad situation to be in. Now, from a relationship standpoint, this transit of Mars is going to bring a high degree of intensity in your life. I anticipate something good happening for people who are married for their in-laws, because Mars is, after all, getting exalted in your 8th house. There could be good opportunities for expanding your joint wealth. If you are a business person, if you are managing your finances with your spouse, with your partner, there is a definitive possibility of expansion from those gains from material expansion in joint assets. However, you've got to be watchful when it comes to jealousy and possessiveness, because that can be detrimental. It can be impacting your peace. There could be some situations where you might be overthinking with respect to your spouse, with respect to your partner, and the debilitated aspect towards your second is indicating that some sort of an impact will be reflecting in your way of communication, in your choice of words, and how you are articulating that jealousness, that jealousy, that possessiveness to your partner, to your family, to your spouse. Be mindful on that aspect. He's giving an aspect towards your 3rd house as well, which is indicating that irrespective of all these difficult situations, you are going to come across extremely courageous, bold, driven, motivated. You are going to be trying and making more efforts and initiatives towards new hobbies, physical activities for that matter. You could be very active in your social circle, around your neighborhood, or with your siblings as well for that matter. On the health domain, Mars indicates that this is going to be a period of caution. After all, the 6th Lord is coming into the 8th house, and he is giving an aspect towards your 3rd as well. So whilst you are traveling, whilst you are driving, especially in your short distance, short duration travels, I would want you to be careful, because it can bring accidental prone situations for you. Be extremely careful in terms of operating heavy machinery, using any kind of electrical equipments as well. Some kind of a shock or accidental situations are possible on that ground as well, whilst using a knife, say, for chopping stuff in your kitchen. So you've got to be watchful. You've got to be more aware on those areas. For people who've not planned for surgeries, there is a possibility that some sort of cut, burns, or surgeries might also come into picture. However, I will not see this in a negative light, because people who are trying to find a fix towards their health problems, you will have the ability to take the next step. You've been waiting for the right period. This could be the duration where you might be able to address those surgery related matters, specific health problems that you've ignored for a long while, or any chronic issues that you've ignored for a while. Maybe Mars is going to help in its exaltation to find the right solution for you at this point in time. Cancer. Mars happens to be a Yoga Karaka planet for you folks, because he's the lord of your 10th house and your 5th house. And Mars is coming into exaltation in your 7th house in the sign of Capricorn. Well, this is a period which can depict as being the power couple, being the right partner, or bringing an excessive amount of aggressiveness in your partnerships. Well, as we said that we are breaking this down into the 4 segments. So from a career and business perspective to begin with, this is going to be a period where your spouse, where your business partner for that matter, may be taking an extraordinary lead in whatever collaborative initiatives you are doing. It's going to be a period which is where your 10th lord is 10 places away from itself, forming an extraordinary bhavarth, bhavam, and rochak mahapurush yoga in your kendra house itself. So one thing is for sure that this is going to be a period which is going to bring brilliant amount of karmas from your side. Your initiatives where you embark in terms of collaboration with your spouse, with the larger world, you could see some tremendous amount of social respect coming in. It could be in terms of attending a social gathering and getting that acknowledgement, that attention from the social circle itself. Then your spouse could be taking new initiatives that support you and your family for a long duration. The other bit is from a business perspective, it's going to be a stupendous time where your business colleagues, your business partner, or your customer, your clientele in itself is bringing some tremendous amount of opportunities for the joint growth, collective collaboration for that matter. Your own karma will also be at its peak. You will not be leaving any kind of stone unturned to make things happen. You will be action oriented, driven, motivated, as well as aggressive in your mindset. The important bit for you to understand is that your fifth lord has come into the exaltation in your seventh house. And therefore, it is also going to be a good period when it comes to your creative ideas and pursuits with respect to your profession, with respect to the initiatives that you are embarking upon. For students, it's an extraordinary period for you to achieve the right certification, the right educational qualification for any plans that you've been cooking for a while now. They are going to turn into fruition and you are going to get extraordinary amount of visibility in those areas as well. People who are working in roles that requires client or customer interfacing on a day-to-day basis, your 10th lord is going to bring those new closure of deals through your confidence and sheer aggression, passion that you bring to the table. The important bit for you to understand is that those initiatives could be something that you've been working out for a while, but this 5.5 week window is going to be presenting that opportunity for closure. Now, the 10th lord's exaltation into the 10 places away from itself in the 7th house is also indicating that people who are in businesses, new high risk engagements, new high risk opportunities that may work in your direction are also going to come into picture. You are going to take creative risks, out of the box thinking from those areas perspective. As you shift towards your relationships, it is going to act as a double-edged sword. The reason I say that is, first of all, fifth lord is coming into exaltation in the seventh. So yes, there is a strong possibility that many of you will be moving towards making things happen, translating your relationships into more of a committed structure, maybe marriage of sorts. Those indications are definitely coming into play here during this period. But at the same time, Mars exaltation in the seventh forms Mangal Yoga, Mangal Dosha. And therefore, it becomes a double-edged sword where you can bring in argumentative situations or delay in your marriage fructifying as well. You've got to look into your natal dasha and antardashas to get more clarity, because this is more of a transitory perspective that I'm bringing to the table for you folks. There's another risk that your partner might go about achieving or accomplishing a lot during this period. And this can bring in some bit of jealous situations where you might go in a shell whilst your partner could become a lot more dominating and aggressive. The reason I'm calling this out is that in its exaltation, Mars is giving a debilitated aspect to the Lagna. So your karma, your effort is going to be at its peak. However, you might feel yourself not coming across too confident or aggressive to the world, especially when you are operating with your partner, both from a personal relationship or from a business partnership standpoint as well. And it is crucial for here to ensure that you do not create any kind of argumentative situations, difficult scenarios that create more complications, because this Mars is giving an eighth aspect towards your second house as well. And that is where I will recommend you to be more careful when it comes to your choice of words in your expression and your food habits too. You've got to understand that arguments are a high possibility. And if you continue with that aggression, it can backfire. Being assertive and planning or strategizing as to how you can best articulate your thought process to your partner, to the larger world in general, is going to be crucial. Mangal dosha is activated, so walk carefully. When you move towards the financial aspects of things, I see a very strong possibility of things materializing the way you anticipated through your partnerships, through your collaborations, and more importantly, new contracts coming into picture. Of course, the 10th Lord, 10 places away from itself, is giving that indication, but remember, he's your 5th Lord too. And that means you are going to be absolutely intelligent, sharp, creative with those new business dealings, with those new contracts coming into picture. You are going to bring that excessive amount of passion. And Mars is giving an aspect both to your 10th house as well as to your 2nd house, which means those karmas are only going to multiply, and you being more protective towards your own finances, towards your self personal interests, is going to be heightened. From a health perspective, what I anticipate is, please be watchful towards your internal body heat, stomach related issues coming into picture, especially GERD like situations, GERD, or acidity. Those kind of issues can be of prominence. Be watchful towards your reproductive health issues as well, and matters related to your children, matters related to guiding your kids will require some amount of effort. It will require you to invest your time in that direction as well. From a speculative gains perspective, stock market investment strategies perspective, it is going to be a decent time because you are going to make, again, as I said, smart and intelligent decisions. From a progeny perspective, possibilities look good, but we will have to look into the larger study that we will do from a January 2026 transits perspective to gain more clarity on that front. Mars happens to be the lord of your 9th house and your 4th house. And therefore, he is a Yoga Karaka planet for you guys as well. And him, your 9th lord, coming into exaltation in your 6th house is going to make you operate like a conqueror. Leo, this is going to be a period where you can define, you can reshape victories over your obstacles, your health issues, your enemies, and put an extraordinary amount of regimen from a day-to-day perspective. Your 9th lord is moving 10 places away from itself into your 6th house and giving an aspect back towards the 9th house itself, along with aspects to your 12th and your Lagna. First and foremost perspective, from a career and business standpoint, this is going to be a time where you might find yourself unbeatable, unstoppable. Your destiny, your luck, your fortune, guidance of your seniors, recommendations coming in from your professor, from your mentor, from your guru, whom you value a lot, the suggestions from your bosses, your superiors, the principles that you carry with yourself, the ethics that you have in you, they are going to be aligned to its zilth, to its pinnacle. And that coming into the 6th house is giving an indication that you will get the support from all of these areas to make things happen. People, if you are getting into any kind of competitive situations, be it a competitive exam as a student, a person who's looking for a new job career opportunity, trying to crack open that interview in your dream organization, in terms of running your business in a stupendous way, where you are getting your support of your customers, your clients, or in terms of overcoming any kind of debt related aspects where you've been struggling for a while from a financial aspect too, there is a strong possibility that you will find victory in all of these areas. It's going to be a good period for people who are looking for new job opportunities. This is a period where you can find yourself growing in your current corporate ladder itself, or new doors could open with respect to new opportunities, new job opportunities coming in your way. Promotion, benediction from your superiors, resulting into promotion of sorts or role upgrade is also highly probable during this duration of 5.5 weeks. Then you have to understand that from a business perspective, I alluded to the fact that this could help you. It's 12th to the 7th house. and it could help you overcome any kind of debt related matters, debt related concerns that you've not been able to service so far and so forth. Mars has come into exaltation in your sixth house. It is going to be crucial for you to find that right strategy. Some person, a lawyer, a good mentor, a family member, an elder in your family might step into your life and guide you that how you should be dealing with that court case, that litigation that has been bothering you for a while years. You are going to find some sort of a solution towards it. Of course, this is also a period where you will be able to overcome your health and illness related problems, but more on that in a bit. The other important thing to notice is that in the sixth house, there is a very strong Shatruhanta yoga which is being formed by this Mars, and it is going to make you a disciplinarian. I alluded at the start of the video that this Mars is no more a soldier, but he is going to be acting like a general. And that means that you are going to be putting your work ethics, principles that I was talking about, in an absolute robotic, perfect fashion. Right aligned delivery from your side is going to be coming in through the course of this period. So make full use of that discipline, of that precision that you can now anticipate with Mars. Mars denotes mathematics. Precision is also seen through Mars itself. As you move further from a finance perspective, I would want to call out again that this is a best period for you to address any kind of debts, any kind of loans that you've been struggling with. Not only from your business and career perspective, but also at an individual level, there could be possibilities that you are able to renegotiate that huge mortgage loan that you've undertaken at a smarter and better interest rates coming into picture. You might be able to figure out new avenues of financial management that you can pay off more of your debt during this period itself. The money, however, is going to come in your pockets through service mindset. So bring that service attitude to the picture. Litigation related matters, all medical related fields are also going to be rewarding for people. So if you are operating in close vicinity to any of those areas, you are working in a tech industry but part of the legal structure in the corporate or otherwise, I've given just one example for that matter, is going to be helpful because you are going to find success through your own efforts, through your own hard work, through your service mindset. Then you have this Mars bringing that aggressive amount of daily routine, which is going to reflect in your relationships as well. It is, after all, happening in the 12th from the 7th house. Your partner, your spouse, your collaborators might sometimes feel almost frustrated with your behavior because you are going to be absolutely thrilled about what you are doing on a day-to-day basis. You might have a timetable in place where you would want to accomplish a lot more, and therefore, since this energy is going to be drawn in that direction, you could have a tendency to ignore on your partnerships, ignore on your spouse as well. But the fourth lord is setting into exaltation in the sixth house. And this indicates that the peace of mind, the satisfaction of putting that hard work is going to come into you. It is going to reflect in your mental and emotional status. It is going to reflect in how you feel with respect to your property, with respect to the acquisitions you've made in terms of immovable assets like a vehicle of sorts. Paying off those loans of the vehicles or getting an improved outcome against your property assets, your assets valuation by, or let me rephrase this thing, improving on your net worth by addressing the outgoes and improving on the asset quality is going to be the key during this period. From a health perspective, I anticipate, Leos, that you are going to find excellent recovery during this period. If you've been struggling with any kind of chronic problems, you are going to find solutions to fight it off. Your immune system is going to see substantial amount of growth. Now you have to see that Mars is giving three crucial aspects here. It is giving an aspect to your Lagna. So whilst all this energy, this excitement, this passion is at its high, at its peak, you've got to still keep a check on your language, on your temper. Do not lose your temper or your cool in difficult situations, especially when dealing in professional scenarios. It's giving an aspect towards your 12th as well. So yes, whilst your focus would be there on what you can see, what is at hand, there could be some unanticipated problems or unanticipated expenses that might also come into picture, and therefore igniting certain degree of spirituality in yourself and immersing yourself in that direction is going to be fruitful, because not just the 12th, but the aspect is towards the 9th house into its own sign as well. All in all, it seems quite positive with the shift which is coming into play for you guys. Virgos, the shift of Mars into its sign of exaltation in the house of Capricorn is going to be acting almost like a creative fire for you folks. Mars happens to be the lord of your 8th house and your 3rd house, and it is operating out of the 5th. And this is a placement where you are going to find good material gains and speculative wins, or creative wins, if I may say, coming in your life. Why did I use the word speculative wins? Because after all, he is the planet that defines longevity, that defines sudden transformation, uncertainty, shifts that are least anticipated coming into picture and coming into exaltation in your 5th, 10 places away from itself, which is the house of creativity and out of the box thinking, your intelligence, your sharpness. And I anticipate, Virgos, that in this 5.5 weeks duration, all of this will be at its peak for you folks. First and foremost, from a career and business perspective, I anticipate that you are going to bring a lot of sharp and strategic thinking. You will not be sitting behind, but you will be taking a lead with your own willpower and courage. After all, he's the lord of your 3rd house, which is doing 3 places away movement from itself and coming into exaltation. Bhavarth bhavam at its zilt. And therefore, people who are running their own businesses, people who are self-employed, who are entrepreneurial by nature, who are operating in the sphere of media, social media related activities like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, and any of those affairs. There's an exaltation of your 3rd lord in the 5th house, and then giving an aspect towards the house of gains, material fulfillment, and desires as well. And therefore, success definitely seems to be coming in all these regards, Virgos, if you are operating in these structures, if you are self-employed in these areas. The other bit is, if you are a trader, if you are working in stock broking industries, or as I said, the creative pursuits, the creative direction of any sort, being in the marketing industry in terms of communication sphere in a corporate world, there is a strong possibility that your out of the box thinking is going to be rewarding. The crucial part for you to understand is that this placement of Mars is going to increase your risk taking appetite, and your risks most possibly will be paying off as well. However, the payoff that you anticipate may not be 100%, and there could be a diminished outcome versus the efforts or the anticipation that you have in place. And the reason I put that is that this Mars is giving 3 aspects. First aspect is coming back to its own sign into the 8th house, which means speculation is on the rise. The second aspect is a debilitated aspect into your 11th house of gains, wish fulfillment, and desires. And the last aspect is into the house of expenses and isolation too. And therefore, this placement of Mars will require you to be working in isolation. Sometimes your efforts, your hard work may not be visible to the larger world. You may have to go into that shell, into your study room, and put in that efforts against the ideology, against the strategy that you've defined for yourself, and it will not be a bad thing. So you are going to exert your physical self, your mind and body to achieve the outcomes. At the same time, you will be extremely driven towards certain desires, certain objectives. And when I say desires, yes, temptations will also come into picture, because after all, your 8th lord is coming into exaltation. But it's not a bad thing, because he is promising success from a material gains perspective. Now, Virgos, you have to understand that these risks should be well thought of and planned, because unnecessary risk of anything, given that he is the lord of your 8th house, can be dangerous. When you move further from a financial impact perspective, as I said, it is going to give you possibility of gains of material success highly from speculative activities like stock market trading, from crypto sort of investments. Your interest towards those areas is going to increase, or maybe you might choose to be methodical with your approach, given that Saturn, if you have been listening to me regularly, Saturn is sitting in the sign of Pisces in your seventh house. However, there is a strong possibility that you may not be done with your new ideas, and I see a strong inclination of Virgos taking those new initiatives, dipping their toes for the first time, probably in very different asset classes as well. It's going to be a good period from a relationship standpoint for your kids, for their education and your association. You will be putting enormous amount of effort, energy for traveling for them, for their sports activities, for your own hobbies in sports, or gymming for that matter, working out for your body. But from a kid's perspective, I see this is a good possibility. The other bit is from your educational hard work, educational rewards coming into life. Students watching this video, your own hard work is going to result into that outcome that you seek, especially if you are undergoing, primary or graduation related education. There is going to be a positive shift in those areas as well. On the relationship front, I would want to highlight that you are going to come across extremely passionate, but volatile, because it is Mars which is coming into exaltation and he's your eighth lord. So on one day you could be offering anything and everything to your romantic partner, to your spouse, to your girlfriend or boyfriend for that matter. But on the other side, something might result into a fight coming into picture, some argumentative situation which disturbs the harmony overall. At the same time, I anticipate that from a siblings growth perspective or relationships with them, there is a definite uptick coming into picture. Their growth with your support is highly probable. So guys, do not, take a step back. Put forward whatever best you can do from your end. The other bit that you have to understand here is that with your loved one or with your romantic partner, there could be some unexpected, unanticipated, jealous like situations that might also come into picture. Some sort of a transformation shift in your relationship in terms of understanding is also possible, but it will be repairable. So keep a note on that front. From a health perspective, you must focus towards eating cooling foods. Now, that doesn't mean you go beyond and taking any kind of measures beyond whatever weather, climate conditions that you are living in. But I do see the possibility of stomach related issues, stomach heat, acid reflux, those kind of issues can come into picture. You've got to be careful about your reproductive organ related section as well, and there could be higher interest in terms of you taking some action in that direction, or maybe some sort of an issue that could come into picture. So just be watchful from your health perspective on those regards. Now Libras, Mars happens to be the lord of your 7th and your 2nd house, and he is coming into exaltation in your 4th house in the sign of Capricorn, which is almost going to be painting you like a real estate baron of sorts. I see this 5.5 duration period to be a great period for you to build your empire in terms of your mental, emotional peace, in terms of your asset growth, in terms of property purchase, or in terms of finding success with respect to any vehicular purchase as well. See, you have to understand that your 7th lord is doing 10 places away movement from itself and coming into exaltation, whilst your 2nd lord is moving 3 places away. Now, Mars exaltation in the 4th house is bringing Mangal dosha as well into picture, and therefore it is not one of the best situations for people to get married. But starting from a career and business perspective, this is a time where you will have to focus towards building your base. You are going to be putting your own hard work with your own effort to identify areas, especially if you are running your own business or in partnership, in conjunction with your spouse, with a professional collaboration of sorts, where you are going to find areas of innovation, areas of success for yourself. However, things might not appear to be moving in the right direction, or they might not appear to be bringing accomplishment on an immediate basis, because he is giving a debilitated aspect towards your 10th house. You have to understand that this is the time where people who are engaged in businesses related to real estate, people who are in the sphere of construction or farming for that matter, anything which is earth related for that matter, businesses or collaboration in those areas are going to be highly productive, highly rewarding for you. Mars is here is also going to give possibilities for people to expand their work from home opportunities, or bringing more amount of work at home as well. But overall, I see your productivity is going to be improving when you are working from your own place, when you are working from your own office, your own home office for that matter. Now, the other bit for you to note here is that Mars is, though giving a debilitated aspect towards your 10th house, he is giving another aspect into the sign of Leo in your 11th house for that matter, which means that these partnerships, these collaborations that you are going to be making, Libras, they are going to be satisfying, they are going to be desire fulfilling, they are going to be fulfilling your wishes for that matter. You are going to achieve your objectives, achieve your goals that you would have set for this time period. From a finance perspective, it's a great time for people to be accumulating or expanding their assets. It's a time where you will be able to find the right deals from a house, land, or luxurious vehicle purchase. Many of you could be buying electrical gadgets or electronic gadgets as well during this point of time. And this is something that you would have put in your bucket list, in your to-do list activity for a while, because these kind of purchases don't happen at the whim of the fantasy unless and until I'm being watched by some of the richest people on the planet. But still, in general, you tend to strategize for your land property purchases, for your vehicular purchases. And this window is going to give you the opportunity to ensure that you are striking the right deals. Your negotiation tactics are going to be working out in the right way. Feel free to bring your spouse or your business partner or any partner, your collaborator whom you trust with, into such deal negotiations. You will be doing extraordinarily well during that point in time. You are going to find good growth in terms of support coming in from your family perspective on the financial side of things. However, on the relationships front, it can be a point of time where your domestic peace, your emotional and mental peace might find some disturbance. After all, Mars gets its Digbala in the 10th house, so he's sitting bang opposite to it. You've got to be watchful from the health of your mother, or your emotional connection, your time that you are able to invest with your mom or on your emotional self might see some sort of deterioration during this period. The second lord is getting exalted 3 places away from itself, and therefore family peace, family connection, wealth accumulation, etc. is going to be happening with your own hard work. Yet from a family connection perspective, there could be certain argumentative situations. Noise, if I may say, is going to get created during this point in time. People, some of you Libras, will also observe that wherever you are residing in your vicinity, there could be some disturbance in your home front as well. There could be some construction activities happening, bringing in a lot of noise, maybe at your home or in your neighborhood too. The other bit that you have to understand is that since this Mars is giving an aspect towards your spouse, towards your 7th house, whilst it's a decent aspect into the sign of Aries, any partnership, any collaboration from a joint growth perspective is going to be a great one, but this may not be the most optimal period for materializing things into marriage. You've got to, of course, look into your natal dasha antardasha to get a lot more clarity from that perspective. The important part is, guys, starting from now, plan your target list. Plan your checklist that you want to achieve with your hard work, with your effort, or in collaboration. If you want to put something jointly along with your spouse, along with your partner, achieving those joint goals is going to be of highest possibility during this period. From a health perspective, guys, I would want to draw your attention that you've got to watch anything matters related to your chest, which means, for my women audience, female audience watching this, I've done this into a couple of consultations as well. Breast, clumps coming into picture, some sort of a disturbance coming in your chest section, infections of sorts, congestion coming into picture is possible. For the larger audience, both men and women, I would want to call out, be taking absolute care of your health related issues. Too much of an anger, too much of blood pressure related issues might also bother you, and especially heart conditions. If you've been struggling with them, I would want you to navigate this carefully. But the good part is, if you are trying to find some solutions with respect to this, you should be able to address those problems if that has been one of the goals, one of the targets on top of your mind. Scorpios, your Lagna Lord and the Lord of your 6th house, Mars is coming into exaltation in your 3rd house for the 5-week duration in the sign of Capricorn. Now, this is going to be a period where you are going to find yourself absolutely unstoppable as a force. I anticipate that this is going to be a period where you could see as a self-made success, because Mars is coming into exaltation in your 3rd house. 3rd house denotes your courage, your willpower, your ability to put up a fight, your hobbies for that matter, your connections with your siblings. And him coming into exaltation in the 10th house is going to definitely show the possibility of you guys taking new initiatives, being enterprising, self-driven and motivated during this phase. Yes, we have to remember that whilst Mars is in exaltation, he is your Lagna Lord, but he is also under combustion since he is traveling quite close in vicinity with Sun for the next few weeks, for the next 2-3 months. And therefore, any kind of effort that you would be putting in can also result into some degree of a burnout happening, because it's, after all, your Lagna Lord moving 3 places away from itself. First and foremost, what you will realize is that from a career and business perspective, this is going to be the time where your efforts, your courage, your willpower will literally be off the charts. You are going to be leaving no stone unturned in making things happen, especially for people who are in jobs or looking for new job opportunities. After all, your 6th Lord is 10 places away from itself and in exaltation in the 3rd, which means efforts from your side, courage from your side to grow in your current job landscape or to find new job opportunities. Many of you who are struggling with respect to your career at the job front, you will be able to pitch yourself, sell and market yourself aggressively during this period. So it's a phenomenal period, Scorpios, in terms of taking yourself out to the market, projecting yourself in the larger sphere of things. Then it is also going to be a highly, opportune time for your self-enterprise, for being self-employed or taking initiatives from an individual self perspective, both from a business as well as side hustle perspective. This Mars sitting here is giving an aspect towards your 6th house, a debilitated aspect towards your 9th house, and also an aspect towards the 10th, which is crucial, because this is going to push you in terms of addressing any kind of obstacles in your career, in your job front, in your business front for that matter. The debilitated aspect towards the 9th is a little alarming, but it is giving an indication that you may have to navigate your luck, fortune, destiny with the brute force of your efforts, or in terms of your relationships with your superiors, bosses, mentors, have to be navigated cleverly with emotions. But your karma, your initiatives is not going to be seeing any kind of dearth of efforts coming in on those areas. Mars here is going to be giving an indication that this is the time for you to start new marketing initiatives, undertaking massive projects, undertaking massive responsibilities as well, which may directly come to you, or you may be proactive in terms of asking for those responsibilities to be given to you. You've got to understand here that from a finance perspective, the outcome of money is going to be a resultant of your own brute hard work. Luck may have minimal role to play during this period, and therefore you'll have to lean on towards your skill set, towards your acumen, towards the effort from the physical body self that you are going to be putting in. I do repeat that the luck issue is because of the debilitation of the aspect going into the ninth house. Plus, Jupiter is also in a retrograde motion. And for Scorpios, we all know Moon is your lord of the luck, and he waxes and wanes throughout the duration of the 28-day period, and therefore it keeps fluctuating for Scorpio people for that matter. Do not leave any stone unturned in terms of new opportunities coming in your way. Sometimes you will feel the pressure of burnout as well, because you will be undertaking a lot of work, but there is no respite or no alternative to that situation given the debilitated aspect that I keep alluding towards. Now, when you move further, when it comes to your relationships, this is going to be a time where you are going to come across a protector of sorts, a guide, a mentor, a support system for your siblings, for people in your community, in near vicinity where you stay, where you live. It's going to be a period where you are going to come up with, ideas, maybe even financially be supporting people, your siblings, your family members, to help them address any kind of pressures that they are feeling. You are going to be full in terms of your energy and passion to pursue your hobbies during this period. Another thing that you have to note from a relationship standpoint is that the aspect of this Mars is in your sixth and your 10th house, which means that people who are acting as enemies, who are bringing in obstacles, or with whom you are collaborating on a day-to-day basis, they will be able to see that passion, that heightened amount of energy in you. But when you are dealing with somebody elder to you, when you are dealing with somebody at a higher position of authority, that is where you will have to curb this instinct and be a bit more submissive. Remember that switch, that smart behavior is going to be definitely rewarding as well. We will touch upon more on that bit in our Jan 2026 readings. Now, from a health standpoint, I anticipate that since your Lagna Lord is coming into exaltation, albeit he is in combustion with its close vicinity to Sun, you are going to witness strong amount of vitality in you. This might be a brilliant time for many of you Scorpios to hit the gym. Maybe the new year resolution is going to be pushing you in that direction. It's going to be a great period for people who are hitting sports. Some sort of action in that area is also important. Maybe using your shoulders, your arms, boxing kind of activities, martial arts, some sort of an interest in those areas. Maybe playing field sports, cricket, hockey, soccer, American football, whatever is your interest. All those areas look prominent because you will be taking actions for your health in all those areas. Now, you've got to understand that the Lagna Lord or the sixth Lord is exalted in the third house, which means that when it comes to media, when it comes to communication, when it comes to making good leverage of social media related activities, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, TikTok, any of those areas are going to provide tremendous amount of success, and more importantly, a crazy amount of effort coming in from your direction as well. So do not be shying away if you are in any of these sectors, because it is going to be rewarding. Very importantly, you've got to keep a check on your communication style, because he is sitting in the third house exaltation. So yes, whilst it's going to be powerful, it is going to be convincing, you are going to be strong when it comes to negotiation skills and stuff, but your speech could come across hurtful. It can create ruckus in terms of your relationships, especially from a formal connections, oral and written communication standpoint. So be watchful as to how you are articulating your thought process. Sagittarius. Mars happens to be the lord of your 5th house and your 12th house. And he is coming into exaltation in your 2nd house, making a 10th and a 3rd shift respectively from its original position. Now, you've got to understand that this Mars is going to be acting as a wealth warrior, where you are going to become hyper aggressive when it comes to managing your second house affairs, which includes your bank balance, your wealth, your money, your family, your dietary and food habits, and your communication. Now, Sagittarius, you've got to understand that this is a placement where your speech becomes crucial, because you are going to have a lot of energy and passion in the way you are going to be articulating your thoughts. But at the same time, because exaltation is coming in your second house, which means that too aggressive a stance, especially in an informal setup where you are interacting with your family members, near and dear ones, it can create difficult scenarios there. However, if we start from a career and business standpoint, the focus that you are going to be bringing to the table is going to be the bottom line of the discussion here. Why do I say this? Well, your lord of creativity, intelligence, smart thinking, ideation, mathematical strategies, speculative activities is coming into exaltation in the house of wealth, in the second house for that matter. And this means that you will be bringing in some sort of clever articulation in your negotiating capabilities, be it in terms of negotiating that promotion where you've been not given the right opportunity, so far so forth, in terms of proactively going and seeking, because he is giving an aspect towards he is giving an aspect towards your ninth house. And therefore, you going and expressing that thought process to your superiors, to your managers, to your leadership, and asking for that promotion, asking for that increments, renegotiating your salary during this period is going to be of prominence. The second bit that is coming into picture is that you could bring in almost ruthless amount of energy when managing your contracts. After all, he's giving both a fifth house as well as your ninth house aspects there. So you are going to be very clever and strategic in terms of dealing with these matters too. The other bit that you have to understand is that if you are operating in businesses which are in structure in collaboration with your family, with your spouse or larger family for that matter, if you are operating in a family business as such, Sagittarius, there is a good strong possibility that prosperity, not just to you but to your overall business, may also come into picture. You will be very protective in terms of your affairs related to your ethos, related to your principles, the ethics that you are going to be following, and that will reflect in your dealings with your customers, with your client, with your superiors, gurus, teachers, mentors. It's a good time for educational purposes. I see success coming into your life, Sagittarius, from a career perspective. Again, if you are in the education space or if you are currently studying as well at this point in time, both from a graduation as well as higher education, post-graduation perspective, there can be good limelight coming in your life. There could be sudden achievement of targets when you least anticipate them to happen. From a finance perspective, I definitely see some course correction coming into play. High income, high expenses. After all, your 12th lord is coming into exaltation. And this could also mean that earnings for you may be well manipulated if you are associated with a multinational corporation, if you are working in a foreign land, if you are working in projects that requires interfacing with foreign entities, with foreign stakeholders. Or more importantly, if you are an import-export related business, job for that matter, high stakes, high expenses are going to be resulting into higher possibilities of money making, wealth accumulation for you. You are going to be earning a lot, but at the same time, you will be required to spend a lot to ensure your higher status, because Mars, after all, is giving an aspect towards the ninth. Maybe that is the principle you may want to follow. Remember, I would want you to translate this expense into your investment strategies during this period. Why do I say that? Because it is your fifth lord which is coming into exaltation. And therefore, for people who are working in speculative industries, for people who are working into trading of some sorts, into investment strategies that can result into higher return of your investment, This is going to be an opportune period for you, Sagittarius, to make sure that you translate those investment strategies into wealth generating activities for the longer duration of time, for the longer time to follow in 2026. So this is going to be the period where you can set in motion your larger roadmap. But remember, the aspect of this Mars is a debilitated one towards your 8th house. And that means that the research related activities on your career front, any speculative activities, if not done using your own intelligence, smartness, wit, may not be resulting into the right outcome. People who are anticipating some sort of inheritance, some sort of life insurance related issues, well, this may not be the best time for things to materialize for you in that direction. Of course, when Jupiter's transit is going to be there, we are going to touch upon that, but today's focus is towards Mars. Now, from a relationship perspective, I would bring back the same point that you've got to be watchful towards your tongue. You've got to be watchful in terms of your communication. How are you articulating your thought process and expressing your thoughts, especially to your family members, towards your spouse, towards your leadership, gurus, teachers, mentors, bosses, as well as your children, because that is going to be the one single reason that can create ruckus in your life. Because I anticipate a lot of harshness or directness coming in your speech, given the fact that he's your 12th lord as well. So you will have the wisdom to articulate that same thought process in a different way. But if you are in a rush, and Mars tends to bring rush, especially when he is exalted, you are going to be in a rush, in a hurry for no matter what reasons, you might end up speaking hurtful things to any of these people in your circle, your family, your kids, or the relationships from a 9th house perspective that I called out, that can be detrimental. Mars is giving an aspect towards your 4th house. So it's a good time not only to set motion your educational pursuits, but also devote time, effort, energy towards your kids in their learnings. It's going to bring tremendous amount of passion in your romantic connections as well. Be watchful of the trend there, but a positive shift in terms of a long distance journey with your loved one is highly possible. Last but not the least, on the health front, I would need you to take care from your teeth perspective, which means some of you could be struggling with toothache, throat infections, because after all it is in your 2nd house, or ulcers coming in the mouth, eating too much of a hot spicy food, that can be a detrimental thing from a health standpoint. Nothing major to worry about on your reproductive organs perspective too. There could be some sort of UTI sort of infections that might bother you to a certain extent, so be proactive on health regard. But all in all, there are a lot of positives that are also anticipated with the exaltation of this Mars. Capricorn. Mars happens to be the lord for your 4th house and your 11th house. And he is coming into exaltation in the sign of Capricorn in your 1st house itself. Well, Capricorns, you are going to be like the Iron Man, Tony Stark. It's going to be the time where you are going to be reinventing yourself. Of course, multiple planets are making a shift into the sign of Capricorn. And this is a placement where strong Rochak Yoga is coming in the Kendra house in your 1st house itself. You have to understand that your 4th lord is coming into the 1st house, which means that a certain tendency of enjoying the luxuries of life, finding that peace in life, is going to be heightened. This is also sometimes an indication of laziness coming into picture. But if the planet is Saturn or Mars, well, I cannot be stating that you are going to be becoming lazy. But yes, Capricorn, your interest towards finding relaxation for yourself, finding the right amenities for yourself during this period is going to increase. He is the lord of your 11th house too, which means that there is going to be a greater interest in you to chase your goals, your desires, your ambitions, that material success that you've been planning for. You are going to have a heightened desire to chase and accomplish that objective. To begin with, from a career and business standpoint, this is a time where you are going to come across that authoritarian leader. You are going to be dynamic, you are going to be aggressive in terms of making things happen. This is a time that your leadership is going to reflect in terms of people also naturally following your orders, because you are going to radiate that strength and competence in the way you are executing things or handling your day-to-day matters. Why do I say that competence? Because after all, your fourth lord is coming into exaltation in the first, which means your own knowledge will be at its peak, or the ability to utilize your knowledge, your skills, your strength areas for your success will be at its peak at this time. This is a time where you are going to put actions towards plans that have been getting delayed for years. Capricorn, so many times I listen in your comments, in your feedback sections, that nothing is happening. Guys, I sympathize with you because I know it's hard, it's tough to be a Capricorn. So it's not an easy journey to be in. However, this is the time where the 11th lord is making a 3-place movement from itself towards your first house, which means it is going to bring in your own courage, your own willpower for you at its zilth, at its peak, to function in a way that you can achieve that plans that you've set in motion. It's also crucial for you to understand that people who are associated for real estate related professions, for professions which involve agriculture, which involves trading in, say, land or commercial spaces for that matter, it's going to be an excellent period for you folks from those areas perspective too. But this is not restricted at all in those areas, as long as you are bringing that willpower. And more importantly, folks, write down, pen down the objectives that you have in mind. 11th lord is 3 places away from itself, so jot down what you want to achieve, and that coming to fruition is a strong possibility. This Mars is giving an aspect back to the 4000. That is where I alluded to the fact that there is going to be an involvement of your assets, maybe you leveraging your assets as a multiplier, building something, one more floor on top of your current house, your current warehouse, your current office space. Multiplying that asset to gauge more growth is what is going to be your strategy. The other bit is this Mars is giving a debilitated aspect towards your 7th house. So from a business partnership perspective, this is a time where you might have to raise your hand and take a stand, because your business partnership or partners might feel crippled. They might feel under pressure. They could be reeling under pressure at this point in time. And therefore, you stepping up is going to be crucial, because the third aspect of Mars is towards the 8th house, which is a joint aspect of assets between you and your partner. Your business partner is specifically I'm alluding to at this point in time. And you will be protective as well as growth oriented in joint situations, in collaborative situations. But this is a time, guys, where you will have to take a bigger leap when compared to what your partners, your collaborators can contribute to. From a finance perspective, money is definitely going to flow in. And from a personal finance perspective, you are going to be highly effective. Guys, Capricorn, you can be the brand of sorts in whatever you are doing. After all, the 11th lord has come into exaltation in the Lagna. It's a rare thing to happen. If you have that in your natal chart, it's an extraordinary situation. You can give your perspective from that perspective, from that scenario. But the idea here is that whatever targets that you've set for yourself, be it in terms of your education, in terms of your knowledge, in terms of your retirement plan in place, in terms of your travel schedules, in terms of your career growth, in terms of your business expansion, it's the time where you will be able to set things to motion if you are able to document them, if you are able to take efforts, show courage. Don't limit yourself during this point of time, Capricorn. The only limiting factor from a planetary position perspective is that Mars is getting combusted. He is remaining combusted for the next few weeks and months to follow. But that should not, tether you from achieving what you plan to, especially from a monetary gains perspective, because 11th house denotes your material gains in your life. Your strength will be your passion and your aggression. You are going to be a brand of sorts. Pushpa. Sorry, for my larger world audience, I've just given an example of a very famous South Indian movie. So that is the kind of energy that you've got to bring to the table. Now, when you move further with respect to relationships, it's going to be a crucial period. This is the time where you are going to be hyper aggressive, passionate, if you are at the right age, very sexual by nature, as well as dominating. After all, the aspects of Mars are coming into your seventh house, into your eighth house, and he is coming into exaltation, being the Lord of desires. So from a one-to-one connect perspective, you could come across extremely, domineering, overwhelming almost towards your spouse, towards your partner. And I cannot dive much into that aspect, but you get the drift of what I'm alluding to. Your interest towards joint activities with your partner would also be to arise. But at the same time, you have to be watchful that this is a period where the aspect is falling both to the fourth and the seventh. So the choice of words, the way you are articulating your thought process, how you are channelizing that heightened energy is going to be crucial, or else it can be detrimental to the emotional side of things with your spouse, with your partner, with your mother as well. Be cognizant of those aspects. From a health perspective, I anticipate Capricorns, your health is going to be at its pinnacle, at its peak during this duration. You could be taking measures to hit the gym, doing some exercise, running around, working out, be it in the form of sports or by pumping the steel. Your food and dietary habits will also see a remarkable amount of improvement during this period. However, there is a caution that you must always remember. He is combusted, and since Mars is on the head, it can bring the possibility of migraines, headaches coming into picture, some sort of a cut, surgery sort of a situation on the portion above the neck, or maybe high blood pressure situations as well could come into picture. So if you have any chronic issues, heart related issues that have been bothering you, Capricorn, this is the time that you've got to bring absolute care on those areas. But the good part is, since your internal energy is going to be at its peak, since you are going to be rushing to make things happen, you have the absolute domineering control to fix matters of health as well. If you've been planning for any kind of surgeries for a while, this is the window where the right surgical effort is going to give the fruits that you aspire for. Remember, 11th lord is in the lagna, so it will hopefully go in your favor itself. You've got to look into the dasha antardasha as well, folks, but this is from a transit perspective that I sense and I'm calling out here. Aquarius. Mars happens to be the lord of your third house and your 10th house, and it is coming into exaltation in your 12th in the sign of Capricorn. Well, this is a time which is going to make you victorious with foreign international pursuits, or maybe bringing in victory when you are operating in isolation. After all, the third lord represents your courage, your willpower, your self-belief, your communication, your larger reach out in terms of marketing or social activities. And him coming into exaltation in the 12th is indicating that there is going to be an absolute rise in the courage, in the willpower that you are going to bring to the table. Especially if you are operating in circuits that require you to connect with import-export related opportunities, foreign collaborations, networking with people who are in faraway lands from yourself, or for people who are looking for new career growth opportunities in foreign land, immigration related issues, this is going to be a brilliant period for you to operating in those areas. First and foremost, from a career perspective itself, I would want to emphasize that if you are working in a multinational corporation, if you are working with customers who operate with faraway distances from you, if something requires you to purchase international products and sell into your market, or vice versa, there is going to be a stupendous opportunity coming in your way. It also gives the possibility of some sort of a social status elevation, because you could get the opportunity to travel to a faraway land for a brief duration, or any kind of initiatives with a shift coming into picture is highly probable during this time, especially guys, if you are looking for international opportunities of collaboration. This is the time of 5.5 week duration, which is going to make things happen. Your courage, your willpower will be at its zilth when you are operating in isolation. When you are all by yourself, there is going to be absolutely no stone unturned from your side to put in the right information, the right effort that is required to polish it, to harness it to the next level. The other bit is that Mars is coming into exaltation in the 12th house, which is the house of expenses, which is the house of investments, as I keep saying. And therefore, from a financial perspective, you've got to understand that there is going to be definitely a possibility of increase of expenses of sorts. And it is your own doing. You could be interested in making some big ticket purchase in terms of investing into something that has been on top of your radar, maybe a property of some sorts. That is a positive investments coming into play. A property of some sorts, an asset, a vehicle of some sort, or depreciating asset, but that is still going to give you satisfaction, is definitely inked on the chart here. Remember, Mars in exaltation is giving an aspect towards your third house, your sixth house, and your seventh house. The aspect towards the sixth house is a debilitated one. Yet, in its exaltation, it will ensure that you are addressing those financial loans, financial pressures coming onto you with some craft. You are going to take some measures proactively from your side to pay off or address those loans to a certain extent. But your focus would be more towards investment strategies versus addressing the P&L which is already in existence in terms of your cash outflow. Then, as you move towards the relationship status here, you've got to understand that the blood pleasures are going to be a highlight, because after all, this connection is happening in your 12th house. You could be taking some initiatives, some plan in terms of a long distance travel journey coming into picture with your spouse or with your romantic connection to have some good peaceful time, holiday period, or enjoy a period of relaxation with your partner. But at the same time, because you are going to be heightened with the energy, your sleep cycle in itself can see some level of disturbance. So you've got to be watchful on that front. Again, Mars is an exaltation in the 12th, which means isolation is something that you are going to be preferring during this period. And this isolation could be from the larger world, and that can impact your relationships. The relationship impact can come in 2-3 areas. Number one, with respect to your siblings, you could choose to limit your time with your siblings, with your community, your neighbors in general, and you might prefer some family time, me time, so to speak. This may also be a time where you may want to operate more as an individual contributor, and therefore team play, working with your peers, collaborating in a larger social circle may not be the most ideal approach that you may want to follow. He is giving an aspect towards your seventh house as well from an eighth aspect perspective. So this is where I would want to draw some degree of caution, either from a health standpoint to your partner or being too aloof. Therefore, making an investment in terms of a travel journey, collaborating with your spouse, with your partner during this period may not be a bad idea at all. You must focus in that direction. From a health perspective, guys, this is a period where you've got to take proper care of any kind of foot injuries, feet injuries coming into play, or maybe something related to insomnia. As I said, sleep cycle is definitely going to be impacted for you folks during this time. Be watchful whilst doing any kind of physical activities that involve walking, running, or strain in the gym, say on your legs and the lower half of your body, the lower part of your body, knee down. Now, we've got to understand the impact of the shift of the third lord into the 10th as well. There is a riskier possibility that a lot of your courage, a lot of your effort and time may also get wasted, because it is sitting in the house of expenses 10 places away from itself. It might get wasted into activities that are not rewarding enough. And the debilitated aspect of Mars is in your sixth house, which means your day-to-day regimen, your day-to-day schedule is getting impacted. And this is where the remedial action is also coming out, Aquarius, because you are understanding here that the exaltation of the third and the 10th lord is in the 12th. But if your cycle is disturbed, and if you're not able to stick to the discipline that you require on a regular basis, it can result into losses for you, either in terms of losses of your efforts or monetary loss also coming into picture. So this is a crucial bit that you have to remember. You've got to manage your expenses cleverly, because the aspect again to the sixth is a debilitated one. So instead of paying off your loans or addressing your loan concerns, your debts, you might be undertaking more of it with the expenses coming into picture. So that is something where you will have to figure out and identify what is the right balance for you. Last but not the least, you see the 10th lord is 3 places away from itself. Travel is going to be fruitful and crucial for you. Shying away from doing any kind of a travel, work, education, anything related is going to be detrimental. I will recommend you not to do so, and figure out a way as to how you can make good use of the same. The other bit is that this is going to be a time for students watching this video from a foreign education standpoint, from an effort that you are making in terms of, especially in STEM courses, in technical courses, if you are interested, this is going to be a good time to expand onto your learning as well. However, more planning and strategy is required when you are getting into competitive exam or competitive entrance situations. Things may not be looking to the best in your favor, and if you are planning, you might have to strategize for contingencies as well. For you guys, Mars happens to be a Yoga Karaka planet because he's the lord of your 2nd house and your 9th house. And he is making 10 places and 3 places movement respectively, coming into exaltation in your 11th house. That's a remarkable shift, because this is going to make you a king in networking of sorts. Financial, liquid cash explosion or material gains explosion is also looking quite prominent for you with this shift, even though this Mars is in close combustion for the next few weeks. In fact, for the next 2-3 months to follow in the near future. Now, you've got to understand, when the 2nd lord is coming into the 11th house in exaltation, this is a very strong, powerful dhan yoga, wealth yoga coming into picture. Because your family, your account balance, your wealth, your savings, the quality of speech that you have and the communication that you are making is coming into a desirable spot. It's coming into a place of exaltation where fulfillment or target objective completion can be seen. And therefore, I see prominence coming in those areas as the first and the foremost impact. To make matters interesting, this Mars is giving an aspect back to the same house, into the sign of Aries. Albeit he's giving a debilitated aspect towards your 5th house, but still he's forming a good Shatru Hanta Yoga with that aspect into the sign of Leo in your 6th house, guys. Now, starting with career and business, since he is in the 11th house, I anticipate that for many of you Pisces, this is going to open up the window of opportunity in terms of new career growth, new job opportunities, expansion in terms of your role, or new business deals coming into picture through the networking that you are going to do in the next few weeks, in the next couple of months to follow. Networking or expansion of your network circle at an aggressive pace is going to come into play. And these networks should most probably providing you the right scale and support during the course of the next 5.5 weeks when this window is coming into picture. Remember, he is your 9th lord, so his exaltation also means that you will be fortunate. Your luck will be favoring you in terms of you getting the support from your network circles, albeit it has to be driven with your own courage, your willpower, your efforts, your hard work for that matter. Writing to people, seeking for help, doing oral or written communication, formal communication with people, broadcasting that effort and asking for that support is going to be rewarding of sorts for you. And I definitely anticipate that, no matter what the situation is, from a career perspective, there is a strong possibility of rise coming in for you guys, Pisces. If you double that down from a financial implication standpoint, I think this is the best financial transit, because multiple streams are going to open up, especially from your day-to-day income perspective, which is like having as a service model in your business, or having a job for that matter for your daily income, or maybe opening up large multiple side hustle sort of opportunities that create income streams for you, or maybe a one time large income of some sorts could also be probable. Now this probability means that again a major shift in your career, new business deal getting materialized for you, or something shaping in terms of your role expansion or doubling down on those areas is the possibility. The other bit is this support, this positivity is going to come in from the benediction of elders, superiors, bosses. So there is going to be some stupendous amount of favor coming in from your bosses, that or the people that you have collaborated with you in your past life. So make full use of that opportunity from that perspective too. Moving on from a from a finance perspective to more of a relationship standpoint here. Number one, since the planet is getting exalted in your 11th house, your friend circle expansion, your network professional circle expansion is bound to happen. If you are working in social media related businesses, say if you are active on YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, any of those, Facebook for that matter, there could be an expansion in your followers, in your subscribers, people who are associated with you, because there is going to be some positive buzz about what you've been doing. There is, though, a risk of having some sort of a conflict situation with your elder siblings. So be watchful on that front as well. However, I anticipate that being your Yoga Karaka planet and your ninth lord, that issue might get resolved pretty quickly as well. It could be, a communication related issue, miscommunication related issue that might come into picture. And why did I use the word communication? Because this Mars is giving an aspect, a protective aspect into the sign of Aries in your second house. So be watchful of your speech, be watchful of the choice of words, because you might come across too direct, too blatant, too harsh at times in that communication. The trickier aspect is the debilitated one coming into your fifth house. So if you are a parent watching this video, you've got to be mindful of how you are dealing with your children. If you are in a relationship, you've got to be mindful as to how you are treating your loved one, your romantic partner, your better half for that matter, if you consider them to be so. The other bit is, in fact, I missed it from a financial gains perspective. There could be some speculative efforts that you might also make towards investment strategies. If you are sticking into your original plan, that may still be okay, but trying something completely new during this period is not highly recommended. This is a time where you will be able to address your loans. You will be able to pay off your debts. So maybe the financial positive implication will come into picture, where instead of making newer strategic investments, stick to the plan that you've been following for a while. The same investment classes, the same derivatives or asset classes that you've preferred so far that have worked out for you. Stick with that regimen and try and address some of the loans that have been bothering you. It's going to be a good time for you to overcome any kind of day-to-day rhythm challenges that you've been facing, because the aspect of Mars from an exaltation state into the sixth house is giving an indication that you will be able to surpass any obstacles, challenges, any enemies who are trying to give you a botheration. You should be able to address those issues pretty comfortably as well. Since we're talking about the sixth house, health is going to be interesting, because minor issues on your leg, in your shin areas might come into picture, but overall I anticipate robust health situation as well. You will be able to tackle your chronic health issues, your blood related aspects very comfortably during this period. My advice to you would be, keep a check and as to how you are tackling your day-to-day regimen whilst exercising and stuff. There could be some possibility, but not anything alarming that is shouting out here. Last but not the least, guys, this is the exaltation of your Yoga Karaka planet in your 11th house. And therefore, some degree of elevation from a religion or spirituality perspective will also be turning out positive and be rewarding for you in the long. Quickly touching upon the remedies and the conclusion of this discussion, guys. Mars is a planet that prefers action. It doesn't support dreaming, building your castle in the air. It believes in execution. And him coming into exaltation is giving a high voltage energy to all of us. You've got to use this opportunity to translate, burn your energy in terms of, gymming, in terms of putting your efforts into action, actionizing on the plans that you've been building for a while. If temper is a concern for you, if the choice of words is a concern for you, this is the point of time where you've got to navigate that carefully. And if you've made this far into the video, before you jump into anything else, my humble request is, guys, I need your support to like this video if you think I've put a decent amount of effort in creating the insights for you folks. Put in your comments, tell me that, Dave, this is something that you can do better. Would love to get your perspective and ideas. Help me cross 1,000 likes for this video and keep watching. Om Namah Shivaya. Har Har Mahadev.